Okay, we have spoken to the mysterious outsider. Suddenly we have a whole bunch of stuff in our room. This is the fourth day of a month of high cold from the acceptor of personal memoirs of Hiram Burroughs dated several years earlier. Fourth day of the month of high cold. Progress continues on the suppression of gang activity in the Distillery District, but more slowly than I'd expected. The ruffians operating there have been cunning. I'll grant them that, but it's only a matter of time. I'll see their leaders flogged in public and sent beneath the royal executioner's blade. If I had my way, that mute bastard would be working night and day, removing the heads that need removing. Internally, the Empress does not seem pleased with my investigations. It seems that it is beyond her thinking, against her very nature as a trusting person, to believe that traitors move among us. But how I know they do. They must. No, Jessamine would rather spend her time with the royal protector. At least he's likely to stop only any immediate threat to her safety, but a strong arm is not what's needed against those who would undermine us. How will Corvo's sword stop a poisoned wine glass or an explosive delivered by courier? It will not. There are many threats around us, threats requiring meticulous efforts to police. Young Lady Emily is undisciplined, I'm afraid. Here within Dunwall Tower she receives instruction from the finest tutors known in the Isles, yet her mother spoils her, and she spends most of her time lost in imagination, wasting her time drawing, or asking Corvo to teach her to fight with wooden sticks. The girl might rule the Empire someday. Every moment spent play is a moment wasted. This guy is quite the jerk, isn't he? Shoring up security for the main gate leading into Dunwall Tower has been another pet project of late. To think that back in his day, Emperor Caldwin left it open to the public during the day, allowing anyone to come and go as they pleased. If it were up to me, I'd seal off access to the streets entirely, but the Empress won't hear of it. The water lock is much easier to protect, and if it were the only way into the tower, traffic in and out would be greatly reduced. Someday the wrong person is going to slip in, and we'll suffer for it. Mark my words, no amount of security is excessive when it comes to protecting heads of state. The Empress also disapproves of my plans for the Sokolov devices. Sokolov himself has no interest in security, of course, but he's vain, and therefore keen to see his inventions deployed in any fashion. This wall of light he's been tinkering with has promise. In any case, at least I was able to convince the Empress to upgrade the pistols carried by the officers of the watch. Why do I worry so when no one else seems to care? If you ever fall asleep, when it'll all sink into the ocean, will the rough things clamber over the walls and fill themselves in our flesh? This is what I see in the same dream several times each month. If only I had more say in things, more authority, I could protect us all. Perhaps I've been working too hard. Dinner and an evening of conversation with a certain lady of refinement might be in order, perhaps somewhere nice in the estate district. Hiram Burroughs, Royal Spymaster and Traitor. Okay. Bone charms provide small supernatural benefits. Locate them by listening for the song they emit. By default, you can activate up to 3 bone charms at once in the bone charms section of the journal. Pouch. Just a bottle. I'm assuming mystical. Let's get the bone charms. Pouches, bone charms. Except from the Overseer's covert field report. Over here now, I've lived away from the Abbey without the company of my Overseer brethren or the guidance of the blind sisters of the oracular order. Days have passed with me sleeping in the dens of cut-purses, murderers, and worse, when the nights have seen me prowling through the worst alleys and wretched corners of Dunwall. I have taken my meals with killers. At times I have ventured beyond the city walls, meeting in forgotten graveyards and the outlying ruins frequented by those vil means. My beard has grown long, and I wear the weathered clothing and bits of boiled leather favored by the Bottle Street and Hatter gangs, and by those rough men and women who make their trade knifing others in return for coin. My hands have run red with blood, it's true, but I have selected my targets with care, choosing among those criminals and heretics who were not fit to live, executing them justly, and using their deaths as a means of building my reputation. So far, this trick has allowed me to make my name among my murderous colleagues without taking the lives of the innocent. My goal is singular. I must impress the assassin named Dowd in order to get close to him. Of all the predictions of black magic we've tracked, none concern the Abbey as much as Dowd. It is said that his mother was a witch from the archipelagos off the Pandesian coast, taken captive by pirates, venturing far from the Isles. According to legend, by the time the ship returned, the captain was dead and the witch controlled the crew, with Dowd still a shadow in her belly. The earliest stories tell of a gang killer without mercy moving among the shopkeepers and city watch officers of Dunwall like a reaper through wheat. Then a period of silence followed. Years we now believe he spent traveling the Isles, studying anatomy and the occult in great halls of learning and in hidden basements frequented by fellow dabblers in the forbidden arts. Dowd is even purported to have spent a winter at the Academy of Natural Philosophy itself, and for a time, before schism developed, he counted the Brigmore witches among his allies. All the while, he honed his craft, and it is during this time that we believe he began to consort with the Outsider. So that would explain the assassin that took out the Empress and was able to paralyze me, and was able to leave no evidence, blah 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 blah. Continuing, new reports emerge of dusky-skinned assassin paid by the elite to eliminate their rivals in Dunwall and in the other major cities across the Isles. Those who saw him lived numbered in the handful, but all of them reported something strange. He appeared and vanished like smoke. From a nearby rooftop he gestured and a noblewoman stumbled from her balcony, falling to her doom on the cobblestones below. Most recently, as this new threat of plague has risen in Dunwall, Dowd has been seen leading a gang of men in dark leather, dressed as factory whalers in their vapor masks. They seem loyal beyond comprehension for one so unworthy, leading me to wonder if some of his magic is dedicated to lulling their minds and enslaving them. Only a month ago, one young girl claims to have come upon a strange scene, carrying a bottle of milk home to her crippled brother. She was taking a shortcut through the tailor's district. In a narrow street, she passed beneath a window and heard unusual sounds from within. Pushing aside the ratty curtain, the girl saw into an abandoned apartment, used by miscreants for gambling and trading haberweed. An occult shrine had been erected against the far wall, which she recognized from the teachings given by her local overseer. The man she described as resembling Dowd was kneeling before the shrine, muttering to an unseen spirit as if in argument. He took a carving made of pale bone from the altar before him, and the lights all went out in a gush of unclean wind. Quiet as a field mouse, she slipped away, running until she reached her home. There can be no doubt Dowd is a nation of the Outsider and must die. There is no limit to the evil this man might do. This is my solemn oath and the great purpose of my life. Until Dowd is dead and his corruption has been purged from the world, I will continue to move among the depraved, winding my way towards him. I will not drop my guise or don my overseer's mask again until Dowd breathes no more. So I'm pretty sure that Dowd is my assassin enemy. Fish artifacts. Let's see. More money lying around. Mystic whale artifact. Bone charm. Bone charm. That takes care of all of those. Colonel Granny Rags. Lots of reading today. Excerpt from the ramblings of a street denizen. Of course I'll tell you, dearie. I won't keep any secrets from you in the end. All the dreary days of my life are like the windows of a house. From the kitchen I can see out into the garden where the leaves and stalks are brown and bug-eaten. I can see a little lump of dirt where something was wrapped in a blanket and laid to rest among the rows of twisting vines. The front room looks out into the street where the neighbors are all setting fire to their homes, barricading themselves inside. Warm and snug, dearie. Don't forget about the bedroom, either. It sees into a dreary alley where hooligans are playing a game with an old man. The first two are hitting with sticks, and the girl with them is kicking at his dry old ribs. Oh, to have those bones, to boil them in a pot. No one lives in my house anymore, dearie. No one you'd want to meet. When I lived there with my husband, we were fine, fine people. Vira more, everyone would say. Your house is as grand as Boyle Manor. Better even. Your dinners are lavish and your parties are the best. When that young Sokolov came to paint my portrait, I was nearly still in my prime. Radiant, he said, and he was just barely a man, so young, painting all the best people across the land. Everyone wanted a portrait by his hand, all my friends. I was the only one, dearie, wet with his paint, glistening on the canvas for a pretty coin. But it wasn't all parties and paintings. My husband and I weren't always at home, no. We traveled together, he and I, to the far ends of the Isles. Beyond even, all the way to the red cliffs of Pandesia, to dig in the rock and crawl through the caves. Sorry. Holding up candles and squinting at the walls. Many precious things we came upon, but none so precious as the boy with the black eyes, dearie. All those marks and bones carved so deep and polished so bright. I brought the old bones home, hid them for my dear husband. Then I learned to boil them and carve them myself. They made such good presents, dearie. The little mute boy took them home. He loved them so. All the time he came back with new bones for me, holding them up so I could see it in his eyes, even though his tongue was still. Granny, his eyes would say to me, carve these bones for me, make me another present. And he went so far, all the way to Dunwall Tower, the royal headsman himself now, my little mute boy and his shiny sword. Better bones were what I needed, you see. Better bones to carve and polish, scrape and clean. My dear old husband was always tired. I made him soup and then he was sick. Better bones was all. For my little mute boy carved in the name of the one with black eyes, and after my husband was gone, given away as birthday gifts, I didn't want to live there anymore. So now I'm old and don't have many to give my presents to. It's sifting through the garbage for granny rags and feeding the little birdies that gather at my feet. No one wants to have tea, dearie. Especially those rude louts on Bottle Street. Slackjaw and his boys, always meddling with an old woman just trying to make her way. In the end, we'll be together with him. You and me in the dreary night with stars above and below. And always the one with the black eyes, dearie. Well, the black eyes does sound like the outsider. And this appears to be how bone charms come about. Okay, it seems to think there's another bone charm around somewhere. Oh, yes, there they are. Mystical wolfhound on it. Ah! And another pouch. And another book. Early Life and Criminal Record of Slackjaw. From a series sent by a member of a series of letters sent by a member of the Bottle Street gang. You want the chin bag on Slackjaw? What he was like when he was young before he got his name? Oh, he's got a cool head now, but it weren't always like that in the days before he was boss of the Bottle Street gang. Time was young Slackjaw wasn't such a reasonable man. Like most of us, he grew up on the streets, running with a pack of ragamuffins and avoiding the law, pinching whatever he needed. Dark-haired and dark-eyed, smoking a pipe by the age of 10. For them born into the brothels of coming from the orphanages, it wasn't either the gangs or working with the mudlarks, and no one wants that. Some got pressed into the Navy or put down into the mines run by the Pendleton or Boyle families. As hard as it was on the streets, as hungry as we all got, at least we was free. By the time we weren't little uns anymore, Slackjaw was one to watch. Usually calling the shots when we took down a farmer's cart or a sidewalk street vendor. He'd come up with the plan, give everyone some part to play, and decide on the split. Most of it just went along, because we learned fast that we made out better like that. More food, more coins. Plus, some of us wanted to deal with Slackjaw none of us wanted to deal with Slackjaw when he was in a rage. He worked on a couple of big jobs with Black Sally across town, and that was enough to get the attention of the other bosses. He wasn't just a street kid anymore, now he's an up-and-comer, which meant trouble. Another guy who fancied himself as such was Mike the Fish, who was working his way up running the protection racket among the factory women. One fine evening, we were all taking in a bawdy show at the local theater. Mike the Fish and his lot are there, and the cheap seats too, just down the aisle from us. Mike gets a wild idea, he wasn't big on planning, and throws a heavy ceramic spittoon at Slackjaw. Hits him square in the face and breaks his jaw. We look to see if there's going to be a blood roll, but Slackjaw just points at the door and we all leave, with Mike laughing at our backs. Waking up the next day without telling us why, Slackjaw motions just for us all to follow. He still can't say a word, so we just come along. We stop at the docks and Slackjaw buys, actually pays coin for it, a heavy chain covered in hooks. It's for fishing in the deep, something you'd attach to a long line off the side of a ship. It's about 4 feet, made of thick links, and there are shark hooks coming off it at different angles. Slackjaw's got that thing wrapped around his left arm, dangling at his side. Not sure how he knew where Mike the Fish was staying, but when we reached his girl's house, Slackjaw throws a bottle through the window just like that. It's almost noon. There's a bunch of screaming inside. Mike pokes his head out, looking wide-eyed and baffled. When he sees Slackjaw out in the street, look comes over his face. It still gives me the willies. Pure murder. Mike comes out the side door, bellowing like a blood ox, holding a cleaver, heading straight for Slackjaw. When they come together in the street, Slackjaw spins and the shark hooks bite deep into Mike's arm and shoulder. He screams, but Slackjaw holds onto the chain. He's standing there with his jaw broken, clenched tight, with the chain wrapped around his left arm, hooks sunk into Mike the Fish, just knifing him as fast as he can. Mike couldn't fight very well hooked like that, and using his left hand, but he was a big guy, and it took a lot of stabbing before he went to his knees. Everyone was cheering at first, but then we all went quiet. It just kept going and going, till finally it was just Mike the Fish blubbering, crying like a baby, and the sound of Slackjaw's knife. When it was over, and here's the brilliant part, Slackshaw took out a note and stuck to Mike's face with a nail. He just said, "If you want a job, come to Bottle Street." Slackjaw didn't talk right for a couple of months, but word spread fast. By the end of the year, once we had a sizable gang going, he sent out letters to the other bosses, telling them that he was running a brand new crew over at Bottle Street. Most of them laughed or beat up the guys who delivered the letters. Green-Eyed Trish even came back missing a thumb. But apparently Slackjaw was expecting that kind of reaction and had a backup plan. A week later, 4 of the bosses were dead. Seemed like a series of unfortunate events, but everyone knew better. One shot dead by the watch while standing in the middle of a meat market. Another slipping and falling into the water, out cold. One of the older bosses found in bed with his belly open wide and a Tyvian pear stuffed into his mouth. Still not sure what that meant. And Sheila Barnsworth was found bubbling in a cauldron of hot wax. Slackjaw sent out another set of letters, offers to the underbosses telling them they'd be treated as fair as peers. He even sent Green-Eyed Trish with one of those letters. All of the underbosses accepted. After spilling the guts of his main competition, Slackshaw went in for stabilizing his business real neat-like, calling in favors, smoothing things over, giving everyone a bit of coin or drink as a bonus, showing what he could be like as boss. So everything got quiet, which always makes the boys of the City Watch nervous, of course. Word went out among the Royal Spymaster Snitches, the responsible citizens group they called themselves, telling everyone working in a shop or sweeping off the front steps of their homes to keep watchful eyes for Slackjaw and his men, trying to suss out what they were up to and what had just happened. But Slackjaw ain't stupid. He greased a few palms among the shopkeepers in the watch too, telling them that he was in town to stay and that things would be run properly from now on, without so much blood. He was finally a real boss, ready to settle into the business of moving whiskey, running the hound fights, and offering up the ladies and the gentlemen of the night, if you take my meaning. Then the plague came. First it seemed like a good thing. A few people got sick and everyone wanted to buy those potions from Sokolov or Piero. Elf elixir or a spiritual remedy they call them. Slackjaw told me he saw an opportunity. We already had an old whiskey factory with a still, where we could water the stuff down and sell it discounted. Doing the same with the Sokolov's elixir was a smart plan. Pretty soon everybody in the slums was sick and business was good. After a while there were so many down with the plague that everyone got scared. Everybody started acting real nasty and everything fell apart. When people can't get work, they don't have the coin for elixir, watered down or pure. When the Empress died, it seemed like Dunwell would slide into the void. Spymaster Burroughs took over, and the watch started using all that new Sokolov technology. Watchtowers, tall boys, and them arc pylons. They pawned on a wall of light across Clover Boulevard and cracked down hard. But Slackjaw surprised us again. Instead of leaving town on a boat for Morley or one of the other isles, he stayed and kept it all together. We get as much elixir to fight off the plague as the City Watch, with their taxes and rations. And that's kept us alive so far. So we've learned about some of the players in our little story. Sorry for all that reading. I'll try to remember to put a skip reading link down in the description.
Should I clear space for Samuel then?
If you like, but he won't use it.
Why?
He can't sleep in regular beds anymore, or that's what he says. Says he was in the Navy too long. Can you believe it?
Oh.
That pile of wood out there? It's a hovel he built from an old rowboat. Where does Admiral Havelock find these people, I wonder? I had a sailor for a boyfriend once. He thought he'd strike gold digging in the Pandician cliffs. They found his ship drifting empty.
Oh, that sounds terrible. Oh, I'm still working my way downstairs. Okay, here we go. We can talk to the Admiral. Where's Lydia going? Oh, she's warming herself by the fire. Okay, Admiral. What are you going to try to sell us today?
Well, let's get down to it. First off, I know that assassination is dark business, but sometimes good men have to do bad things to make the world right. Our purpose is clear. We want to restore Her Majesty's line by finding and putting Emily Kaldwin on the throne. To those ends, we'll hide, act in shadow, take them apart, piece by piece.
Fair enough.
Tonight, High Overseer Campbell dies by your hand. It won't be easy. He's protected by his overseers, an army of religious zealots. But if anyone can do it, you can. Your exploits are legendary. Campbell carries a private journal. Once you've eliminated him, get the journal, because we think it contains Emily's location. Recovering her is obviously critical, assuming she's alive. That's the gist of it. Remember our cause, and strike true. We're counting on you.
Okay.
Another thing. Campbell is holding a former overseer by the name of Martin. He's one of us, and if you manage to find him, give him whatever help you can. He's a master strategist, and he got caught working for our cause. It'd be good to have him back here at the How Pits.
Okay. So let's get on our way out to the... No. Who are you?
Oh, Corvo? Corvo. Hello. I'm Callista. I work here for Admiral Havelock. I'm sorry to intrude on your business, but this is important. I suspect you're going to kill the High Overseer. That wretched man. There's really no reason for you to listen to me. But my uncle, Jeff Kernow, still serves as captain in the City Watch. But he's a good man, and my only family. The chatter in servant circles is that Campbell just took delivery of an exotic poison. And I think I know why. My uncle's not corruptible like the rest of them. Campbell is going to poison my uncle. Do you think you could protect him? You used to do that, right? Before you had your current profession. Before you became an assassin.
Well, I'll do what I can. He certainly sounds like someone worth saving.
I overheard the Admiral at breakfast, talking about the Overseers. That's all I heard. And I think it's better if I don't know too much about what you people are doing.
Quite possibly so. Okay, Piero's not here at the moment, unless he's upstairs.
He's my uncle, and he means a lot to me. His name is Jeff Kernow. Captain Jeff Kernow.
I gotcha. Oh. One of these days I'll come back and read these, but I've done too much reading in this episode already. Okay, Piero.
What can I do for you?
Let's talk about stuff. As I happen to have a couple of thousand more coins on hand. So let's... Ooh, let's look at upgrades. Let's see... Short range damage, spread damage. Okay, so let's get that upgrade. Okay, bolt capacity. Bolt capacity. Grenade capacity. Let's not worry about capacity immediately. The accuracy up. This only leaves us 1100. Okay. I'll still have to figure out bone charms here in a minute. And of course I got dogs barking in the background, that's always a thing. Is there something I should know about? Piero's request is denied.
You traveled with my uncle briefly, didn't you? Doing something for the Empress.
Okay. I'm not quite sure how much time I've spent on this. Quite a bit, I think. Let's reset the clock before I go back into here. Okay, we'll try to manage our recording time reasonably. We may only be doing staking out this episode. Okay.
Ready to go?
Suppose
Just
I
give the
am.
signal.
I'm wondering if the sounds of dogs chewing on bones is carrying over there. High Overseer Campbell. I guess we'll be doing High Overseer Campbell Part 1 will be the name of this episode. Okay.
It'll be a rough trip. Used to be to go straight up Clavering Boulevard, but now it's not so easy. Half the city's dead of the plague. The other half's fighting over what's left.
I got Rain X up my
City
ass.
Watch still holds the bigger streets, and they've set up those wall of light checkpoints. A man walks through one of those, and he ends up burned to a crisp. Everything not controlled by the City Watch is gang territory. And there are the real odd birds living on the fringes, like that Granny Rags. They say she's nuts. Don't know which is worse. Just take your pick.
Okay, let's look at my clues. The City Watch, let's see, task. Tasks. Eliminate High Overseer Campbell. Get past the first light wall. Use the Bottle Street alleys to get around the walls of light. Okay. Locate Emily. Take the blackmail journal from High Overseer Campbell. Mission clues. The City Watch holds Clavering Boulevard beyond the first wall of light. The Bottle Street gang controls the side streets around Clavering Boulevard. Granny Rags lives in an apartment at the far end of Indoria Street. I'm gonna have to learn my way around this town. High Overseer Campbell leads the city's militant religious faction and is a close ally to the Lord Regent. Campbell is completely corrupt and holds the secret of Emily's location. Infiltrate the office of the High Overseer, steal Campbell's journal, and eliminate him. An ally to the Loyalists, Martin is being held there. Free Martin and allow him to escape. No special mission items. Okay. Bone charms, and I can have 3 active. Take Fencer. Can take Blast Resistant. Damage from explosions reduced slightly. Shot whiskey bottles explode with greater intensity. I'm not sure I'll remember to do that. Powers effects slightly improved, but probably go with that. White rats can be consumed for mana. That sounds terrible. White rats won't attack. That might be worth having. River affinity, swim speed increases. Raven, drop assassination gives you a bit of health. Quick dodge, enemies miss more often with arrows and bolts. Warrior, moderate keyhole, peeping magnification. Touch, good grief. Breaking glass sound moderately reduced. Good lungs, breath capacity, and water. I'm going to take quick dodge. And Fencer. And I can always take more later. What a lovely set of dragonflies. They're literally throwing bodies off into the river. Looks like it.
Let's go. It's nearly midnight. But easy, damn it. Keep him in the boat. The canal's got enough shit in it as it is.
What the hell are you?
Good. Keep him coming.
Hey,
What is it?
I think that last one was moving.
What?
Yeah, the little one.
Not possible. I inspected them myself. Keep working.
Sully ain't moving no more.
that guard went.
If the city's dead, we'll make it 3 more months.
I told her to keep the children inside. I told her.
Somebody.
Fucking longer do I have to fuck? Huh?
They're definitely looking for me. However... Okay, hopefully he won't be found.
Stupid goddamn.
Attention Dunwall citizens. Following direct contact with an infected or weeping individual, you are required to remain in isolation for 2 continuous days. If signs of infection occur, report for transport to the flooded district.
If the city's dead, we'll make it 3 more months.
Did I tell you about the time I almost caught that guy who killed the Empress? I don't need shit.
Oh, fuck. Disgusting.
Attention Dunwall citizens. This is a special announcement from our Honorable Lord Regent.
This is the Lord Regent speaking. It is with regret that I announce that my term as Lord Regent has been
I'm gonna take a quick save here.
extended through the month of harvest
find out
and
if I can
potentially beyond.
Walk past
In
this guy
addition,
over here.
in this continuing crisis, the overseers of the Abbey of the Everyman remain in service to the state and are empowered to enforce
Okay, yep,
order
that didn't work.
whenever...
Note to self. So, obviously... Don't know if he cares about me being here or not. What have we here? Oh, a health elixir.
Men like you, walking the streets with weapons? We don't need that. If the city's dead, won't make it 3 more months.
Bone charm over here. Somehow very close. Over here, perhaps? Where's their cup? Need a key to get in there.
If the city's dead, won't make it 3 more months. How did it pass me by? All the others down to the sickness.
Just around the corner here.
If the city's dead, won't make it 3 more months.
Really? Okay. Number ways disabled by removing the whale oil tank. Climb up the crates to the right and use the roof to find another path by following the streets to the right. Possess a rat and use the small tentacle left. Can't get up any higher that way. But yes, there we go. Clavering Boulevard. And I'm going to end this here because I don't want to be running up too many minutes on these episodes. There's another wall of light out that way. I kind of want to poke around in this square looking for those bone charms. Out of curiosity, where was the whale oil tank? Oh well, never mind. Okay, but yeah, that's it for the moment. We will be back with more Dishonored very soon. In the meantime, have fun playing your own games, and bye-bye.